continue talking about 5 things to do to fight fair, move marriage forward. Number 2 thing is don't be judgmental. So when did you make a shift in your marriage? When did you go from thinking that the two of you have so much in common to the reality that you also have a ton of differences? That's where most people get stuck. That's where they get off track. We go from loving everything about our spouse to finding out there are things that we do not love about them. And then we try to change those things. We take that person that once upon a time we thought was perfect for us, just the way they were, and we try to fit them in this mold that we designed. We want to give them a makeover, turn them into our version of them. We think if they would just do this or wouldn't do that, our lives would be so much better. Sound familiar? Well, most couples do this. Some do it a lot and some not so much. So here's our dilemma. When you don't agree with your spouse, when you are not on the same page or even in the same book, how do you accept those differences and see those differences as good and not as something that you need to convince them to change? How do you keep from judging them and thinking that they've got to be wrong because you've got to be right? Consider this. Try reframing your spouse. What if you always saw your spouse as a teammate? I'm playing sports. My teammates we were all different. We had similarities, and there were some that I could identify with, but we were still a team. Their differences didn't pull the team apart. Or if we did focus on our differences in a negative way, our one-loss record would tumble quickly. What we also found is that our differences were valuable. The team was stronger because of our differences. We had a choice to accept and embrace these differences or to fight them. The differences, well, they became a positive thing instead of a negative thing. Now let's apply that to your marriage. Look at this famous piece of fine art. It's titled The Ninth Way by Ivan Evaskovsky. That is available on brushwiz.com. What do you see? I see a storm with huge waves and a small boat full of men fighting the waves. It also shows the sun. So there's a sense of hope. What if the only part of the painting you saw was this? What did you think? Well, I think these guys are in big trouble. But what if this is the part of the painting that I showed you? This part. Now what do you see? You see a beautiful sunset, a painting created by God. You've got the same choice with your spouse. Your spouse is the big picture. What do you focus on? Do you see only the negative and therefore judge them? Or do you see the positive and focus and build on it? Thing 2, don't be judgmental. Again, you've got a choice. What are you going to choose?